Today I'm going to be doing a head-to-head comparison between two different lightsaber core manufacturers. On one side you have Damiensaber LGT, and on the other side you have TXQSABER. Very common cores that you'll find in RGB sabers all over the place. So I'm going to show you the difference between the two, and I'll let you know which one I think is better. Let's go. Welcome back once again to all my Jedi and Sith companions. I am your host, the Frugal Jedi, and welcome to my first head-to-head video comparing two different lightsaber cores. You can probably tell my voice sounds a little different. I'm struggling with a bit of a cold, and yeah, so I'm going to be coughing a little bit. My wife has bronchitis as well.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
So you might hear some coughing in the background. But the show must go on. I have a lot of inventory here that I need to get reviewed, and I like doing this, so let's go. Today I'm going to show you two different sabers with completely different designs on the outside. But we're not concerned about how they look, but we're more concerned about how they perform. If you're looking to get an RGB lightsaber, there are so many choices out there. But for budget lightsabers, there are two companies that corner the market. You have your Damiensaber LGT with their RGBX version 3 soundboard, and you have TXQSABER, and they have a couple of different soundboards out there. They have a 10 Soundfont RGB and the new 16 Soundfont RGB. So I'm going to be comparing the two and telling you what I think and kind of figuring out which one is a better buy. If you're going to be buying a budget lightsaber that's base lit, which is good for dueling, or if you just don't want to spend a lot of money on a pixel, I'm going to show you the difference between the two companies. They are similar, but there are differences as well. First off, I'm just going to go over the Damiensaber lightsaber. So this is the Adalwort, which you can get on Amazon. Very inexpensive and performs well. So the Damiensaber has 12 different sound fonts. And for sound font selection, make sure the blade's pointed down.
The fallen,
and you can
the count,
quickly cycle through. You can also use the button to cycle through sound fonts. You have 3 volume modes. So you have mute, volume high, volume low. You have motion controls for turning on the saber, so you can stab, you can swing, or you can twist. Very loud, very clear sound. And you can turn off with motion control. You can
pulse,
set the blade style, so you have steady, pulse, and unstable. You can turn motion control off.
Motion control off.
So now I won't be able to turn the saber on by stabbing or by twisting my wrist. And you have clash on or off as well.
Clash on.
So clashing is that sound effect. I'm going to turn it back to low volume because it is really loud.
Volume low.
Okay. So that's clash on, and I can turn clash off if I don't want to be able to make a sound effect or the blade light up by striking it. And very responsive. I love these soundboards. The RGBX version 3 has always been my favorite for RGB soundboards. The sound quality, phenomenal. Okay, so while it's active, you can also do your lockup effect. You can do your blaster. And if you hold it down for 2 flashes, you have an infinite color change. So very, very slow, but you can really get any color you like. And then you also have a quick color change. And that'll just cycle through the colors. and then you can just stop at any time. So this is a wonderful lightsaber. Now, how do you know if you're going to be getting a Damiensaber soundboard when you order a lightsaber from a company? They don't usually tell you, you know, what kind of core is installed. The best clue is you can look at the description. So for example, if it says 12 Soundfont, 12 color, most likely it's the Damiensaber RGBX version 3, most likely. You could also just ask the seller, is it a Damiensaber core, and they'll tell you. So I love the Damiensaber core. It's so nice.
Volume high.
Such great sound, and I'm going to turn motion control on.
Motion control on.
And it's just so responsive. Yeah, so Damiensaber, you can't go wrong with one of these. So now let's talk about TXQ. So TXQSABER manufactures their own soundboards. And now with their new model, which is 16 sound fonts, they introduced the option to use 2 buttons. With the Damiensaber soundboard, it's only a single button use. So with 2 buttons, now you can use one button to select sound fonts, while the other button will turn the saber on and off and do different effects. This is nice because you can get through sound fonts really fast, and you can also use motion control by holding it down and twisting your wrist. Mind you,
Princess. Ever.
Serena second.
it's just as fast on the Damiensaber. So having a 2-button configuration, it's really no big deal. You have 3 volume modes, just like the Damiensaber. You have your mute, low, high. You have blade effects. So the Damiensaber has steady, pulse, and unstable. TXQ has steady, pulse, unstable, and now they've introduced Ghost. So Ghost Blade will be when the blade is completely dark, and it'll light up as you move it. And the way you activate your blade effects is a little different with this as well. So the way you change your blade styles, so for instance right now, I'm on pulse. I can quickly change my blade styles on the fly. So this is Ghost Blade. You can see it lights up as I move it. And then I have steady, and there's my unstable. And back to pulse. On Damiensaber, to change blade styles, the saber has to be in standby mode. So you can't change it on the fly. But I change it by holding it.
Steady. Unstable.
So it's a little longer to change blade styles because you do have to shut the blade or turn it back into standby mode, hold the button down for 2 flashes, and then it'll change. While the TXQ, I can press the right button here. I can change blade styles on the fly. It's a little quicker. Now, how do I change colors? The Damiensaber, you saw that you use the button presses while the saber is activated. TXQ, you have to hold the blade pointing downward, and you can flick your wrist, and it'll change colors. With TXQSABER, though, you can't choose infinite colors. So you can only choose from the preset list of colors that are built into it. Some people, you really want to have a customized orangey lightsaber or like an exact color of blue, then the Damiensaber is better for that. Now this is something that the TXQ has, which Damiensaber does not. It has 3 music files built into it. It's kind of cool. And you can have that music playing while you're swinging and fighting. Of course, the Imperial March. Okay, it's going to shut that off. Let's just select a sound font on both of them to compare how it sounds. So let's compare the Emperor sound font on the Damiensaber and the TXQSABER. So we'll start with the Damiensaber. As I hit the lamp. And now let's hear it on the TXQ. You can definitely hear a difference. The sound quality is better on the Damiensaber, there's no question about it. Once again, let's try a different sound font. So let's compare Darth Vader's sound font. We'll start with the Damiensaber. And we'll compare that with the TXQ. The Damiensaber sounds better, there's no question about it. If TXQ could just improve their speaker in their RGB cores, it would make things so much better. Very similar lightsaber cores, closely matched, but there are things that are a little better on the Damiensaber and things that are a little better on the TXQ. So let's start with the sound fonts. You get 16 sound fonts and 3 music files with TXQ versus the 12 sound fonts that you get with the Damiensaber. So for sound fonts, of course, it's going to go to TXQ. Sound quality. The sound quality, there is absolutely no contest. The Damiensaber core has so much better sound than TXQ. They use a bass speaker. It's more full and vibrant. I don't know how well this microphone will pick up the difference between the two, but if you were standing in the room with me and close your eyes and I told you, well, which one sounds better, I guarantee you, 100 times out of 100, people are going to pick the Damiensaber. So sound quality, for sure, Damiensaber. So let's talk about the features of the sabers. They both have 3 volume modes: flash on clash, sensitive smooth swing, the blaster and lockup effect. Each one has blade styles. So both of them have steady, pulse, unstable, but the TXQ core has that extra ghost effect. If it's a big deal or not, I really don't care because it's not something I usually turn on. I usually have my saber set to steady or pulse. The other thing is TXQ has the ability to change blade styles on the fly. So you don't have to deactivate the saber. You can just twist your wrist and change it between steady, pulse, unstable, and ghost. That's cool. You can turn clash off on both of them, which, again, not a big deal. But the biggest thing for me is the motion control. The motion control for the Damiensaber is more refined. I can turn the saber on by stabbing, twirling, or twisting the wrist. The TXQ, you can only turn it on by twisting. And the fact that I can't turn off motion control with TXQ. So if you are spinning it and you're doing stuff like this, you're going to accidentally shut the saber off with a twist of the wrist. Damiensaber, I can press the button 3 times in standby.
Motion control off.
And now that saber will not turn on or off when I'm twirling it around. So Damiensaber is going to get a little bit of an advantage over TXQ for that one reason only. So which one should you get? Do you go with Damiensaber's RGBX version 3 or do you go with TXQ? Well, it really depends on you. Which hilt design do you like? For instance, if you really like the arrow design, you can't get this type of hilt with the Damiensaber soundboard. So that's one factor, is design of the hilt. Second thing to consider is, what are you going to be doing with the saber? Are you going to be a person that's going to be doing a lot of fancy spins and tricks? Or are you more concerned with just swinging it around and doing fighting with another person? If you're going to be doing a lot of fancy moves, then I would say choose a lightsaber with the Damiensaber core, for that fact that you can turn off motion control. If you're not concerned about that and you're just more a person that's going to be fighting, doing this kind of motion rather than behind your back and up in the air and all that stuff, then TXQ. Both lightsabers are really good. It's hard to make a decision as to which one is better. They both have pros and cons. My personal opinion, if I were to have to decide between the TXQ and the RGB X version 3, for me, it's going to be the RGB X version 3. And the reason is it has way better sound quality, you have more motion controls, and you can turn the motion on or off. If TXQ could improve the quality of the speaker, if they could have the option to shut off the motion controls, then TXQ would be the winner hands down. But for those two reasons, my choice is Damiensaber. So that does it for this head-to-head video. If you found it helpful, please don't forget to click on that like button, hit subscribe, tap the bell. Next week, I'll have a review of a new lightsaber that has new internals, and that is the SN Pixel V4. It's going to be cool, so make sure you have that bell checked so you're notified when I release it. Until next time, I have been your host, the Frugal Jedi. Thank you for watching. See you next time.